Welcome, folks. Welcome to my channel. I'm back. I got some big news today. I'm going to share a little PowerPoint. That's right. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go, folks. Hopefully you can see what I'm seeing. I'm going to go down here to my PowerPoint. And we're going to start from the beginning. Can you see what I'm seeing? Hopefully you can. So according to the ghosts, we need to look closer at William. And look where missing Kate is and possibly the children. I'm sorry to say, but something looks fishy. So we're going to start here. We're going to start here looking at William. We're going to start here looking at what if the ghosts are right? What if he did kill her? What if he did kill the children? Well, but we can't really go forward until we go backward. We got to go and do some background. I'm going to catch you up with some history. I would advise all of you to research these subjects in depth. All the British press is considered an extension of the crown and should be treated as such. So please take everything you hear from the British press as something that has come through the crown. But the ghosts are going to catch us up on what the real history is, the history that the talk shows don't talk about. But you are encouraged to go ahead and research, do some deep research. Go ahead. All right, we're going to start with the Nazis. This was a German aspect of the family, the royal family extending across Europe. This was a German faction of that family, came into power. But the real issue was there was a real tie here, and we need to look at that began with those Nazi sympathies. And Madam Mitzpah is Jewish, and I do take issue with the Nazis. We also need to kind of understand the culture. Some of us don't understand the culture because we buy into the dream. The culture is that it was culturally acceptable for the children of mistresses to be cared for by the family, for children born out of wedlock to be accepted as children in that family. The palace will suppress this information. They will say that this does not exist. I just want you to go ahead and just keep an open mind, folks. Keep an open mind. Well, I like to call them the mafia royalty, really, because all royalties were kind of mafia-like if you really want to go deep on it. And according to the ghosts, when we look at Prince Philip, remember, I kind of think he's just a nasty fellow. That's the vibe I get. But he was rumored to be linked to at least 12 women and had at least one child out of wedlock, according to the ghosts. That was with Penny. But he was protected from scrutiny. So even though he had maybe like a dangerous side and reportedly had Diana killed, but even though he was nasty and said terrible things about Meghan, he was forgiven. The British press, they always write nice things about him. They never really did us justice examining the character of this particular soul. So they did not do their job again. All right, so that child we were just talking about, the child is below in the picture. I don't know if you guys can see this picture here, but you can see the profile is very similar. The teeth, the kind of rabbit teeth, that's very similar with William. So this lady in this post was talking about William as a child, this little girl as a child, and also about that will. The will is sealed for at least 90 years. You got to ask yourself, why? Why is that will sealed for 90 years? What is going to be so problematic, right? What's going to be so problematic about that will? You got to ask yourself, you got to dig deeper with these questions. They matter. It matters. Ask questions. So if you do some research, you'll find that there are people out there acknowledging being the child of Prince Philip. So just go ahead and do your research. But this is a common theme. The theme is the children are born in the marriage and they are potentially going to be in the background, they're going to be out there. There's lots of them. Well, here we move to the saddest part of the story. I've talked before about this great lady. She's the Magi card, Ace of Spades. So she had a prophecy of her own. She said what was going to happen. She was an oracle. So we collectively failed this woman. We collectively failed her. Anyway, it's all very sad. But let's go over to what the theory is. Now, theory is basically racism, because racism was what kept this woman potentially from being able to have a child, supposedly with her lover. Now, the palace would have you think that Dodi was just a crazy, crazy man who wanted to believe whatever he wanted to believe. I don't know about that. The ghosts tell me that there was racism here and there was murder. I sense murder. I smell murder. I'm going to call murder. So sometimes you see articles that seem to be kind of pointing a finger and letting you know, I want you to look at this man's soul for a minute. Just feel his energy. You tell me what you feel. I don't feel good things. So I know for a fact, the ghosts tell me these folks do what they want. It's lawless out there. The law does not apply to them. I've told you before, the monarch cannot be held accountable for a civil or a criminal crime at all. No charges, because the monarch is above the law. So they dole out punishment, they dole out domestic abuse, they dole out acts of racism, they dole out child abuse, sexual abuse, affairs, children out of wedlock, doling out their own kind of renegade justice with each other. They all handle it amongst themselves. The murders, the killings, the punishments, the thefts, the justice, all of it gets doled out in their inner world because they are a different class of people. Are there other children out of wedlock? Sure, for sure there are. There's Charles and Camilla's New Zealand son. I don't think he's from New Zealand. I think he's from Australia. I get those countries mixed up. So that one is coming up as a possible. Yes, yes. Iris, that would be William's potential daughter with Rose. Catch up, people, catch up. That's a definite possible yes. Harry, very possible, but Harry is a child of love. Prince Andrew, another very possible. I get a definite yes. He was the queen's favorite and she loved Porchy. Did she love him? That was the man that would have been better for her instead of the Nazi. And he looks different from the other children. Keep that in mind. But there are other children. It is very common to have mistresses, and I don't know what the other gender term is when the woman has the mistress. All right. So we see stuff out in the media where you get a little bit of a hint. Something's going on here. You see these two people. I don't know if you can see them, but they're having a connection. And we get some more hints in the media. There are thoughts that there is merit. That's right, merit to the idea that Andrew is Porchy's son, and that would explain why he is the favorite. Oh, and did they ever? They went to France and had a nice little getaway. They enjoyed horses together. They had a nice friendship and most likely more. Yes, 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 I agree with this. Andrew does not resemble the rest of the royal brood, and the queen favored and sheltered him. So, who was it? Paul Burrell. Andrew has always been the queen's favorite son and has never done anything wrong in her eyes. That's right. I think she gave him some secret money. I think that's why he gets away with living in that house. He gets away with having security when he's not a working royal, and Harry got denied in court, even though he brought up the argument that Andrew has the security going on, even though he's not a working royal. But no, the British government, which is an extension of the crown, did not give Harry that luxury of security. And so, there is something that Andrew has over all these others, and that is that he was Mama's favorite because he's he's kind of like, if he lets it out of the bag, it brings down the queen's reputation, so he's got something over the monarchy. Yes, they both have a similar forehead and similar brow, similar meeting of the eyes, similar ridge on the nose. I think he has more of the queen's nose. But you have to ask yourself, why did this lady just forgive her sons hanging with pedophiles? Why is that so common? And then you start to look around, you start to break out your sniffer nose, right? And you go find pedophiles everywhere. Where are they? Jimmy Savile. He is a world famous pedophile. I recommend you watch that documentary on Netflix. So maybe it was nothing new for her sons to hang out with these pedophiles. So maybe she doesn't think Andrew did anything so bad. You got Prince Charles hanging out with a pedophile, close pedophile. But her husband was hanging out with pedophiles because her husband had an aide that was abusing an 11-year-old girl sexually. That's right. That's right. That's what these people are up to. Just give you something to chew on for a minute. You think it's crazy to think that there is sexual predatory behavior going on with minors? Nope, it's going on. All right. And remember, I was just talking to you about this documentary. Well, in the documentary, they say that Prince Charles repeatedly sought Jimmy Savile's advice. Well, what does that tell you? He's conferring with a pedophile. So I think Queen Elizabeth, she just didn't see nothing wrong with what Andrew was doing. And of course, there's a very good chance that Princess Diana did carry on with another man and did get pregnant and did have Harry. But the nice thing about that is that Princess Diana was of more royal blood than Charles. So let's not forget that. Charles' line was not actually that high up in the blood quantum for the royalty, but That's why he was bred with Diana. And so Diana has that royal blood in her, and I think you can adopt children into a family. So by no means am I disrespecting Harry as a prince. I see him as a prince, and Harry may never address this fully, but that's totally fine. I'm just saying it's out there. And that would explain why Charles is particularly cold to him, but also it would explain why Diana really loved Harry and Harry was her favorite. All right, so now we're moving on to the next generation, except we could go back and cover Charles and Camilla. That is a possibility as far as their potential child, but we'll come back to him. So here we go. Remember that Rose Hanbury is the person that William has been reportedly involved with since 2014. You'll see 2016, but reportedly it was 2014. That resonates with me. The ghosts tell me that that would be a yes. And then around 2016, supposedly Iris was born. I have a theory about what Rose wants for Iris. Rose comes from nobility. All right, this is a very interesting post. This Sonia Ironier. The rumors are that Rose is in a marriage with a gay man. That's that man that's 24 years older or whatever. But that she has that one child with William, her daughter Rose, and is now pregnant again. Well, that would then justify William going off the skids because now he really has to do something about that failed marriage. Let's see here, that arranged marriage. But I don't feel this is accurate. I do feel that Kate is gone. So I do not feel like she is just laying low. They have offered her no voice in this scenario. She seems to have no voice. I have not heard that woman speak. I have not heard that woman's voice and her face and her lips move at the same time. So we're just gonna say a big old psychic no on this part, this laying low. She did not have a nervous breakdown. That lady puts up with that big baby William, who is mentally derailed. That's my message I'm getting. So let's jump right in. I was right on target with that last comment. Woo! William's history of violence. Woo! It's a lot to take in because you got to take in the emotions of it. That's right. Well, these are all things you can find for yourself. Do some research. You got that affair with Rose. You have cruelness. You have uncompromisingness. You have a cold cut off brother. He has attacked his mother Diana reportedly. He has rumors of domestic violence reportedly, reports of a violent temper, rumors of mental health issues and alcoholism reportedly, attacked his brother, vindictive. This is the person who has a violent temper. Watch out. So let's imagine a history with a carefully orchestrated and arranged marriage to keep the image alive, a marriage of no love with a commoner groomed for the job whose parents made millions from the arrangement, a marriage where you took out your anger on your wife and she had signed away her rights and all the legal paperwork. What happened on the night you lost your temper? You wanted out. You saw that your brother got to rip himself free from the institution, and you wanted your mistress to be queen and for your children with your mistress to inherit your title. Did you kill them all on the same night? Did you just put her in a coma? Where are the children? Where is Kate? Why are you acting so guilty? What have you done? Are you a serial killer? Have you killed before? We know you attacked your brother, your mother. Have you lost it, William? Did you kill your cousin's husband in a rage? Did Rose get pregnant again and you promised her the crown? Did you promise to get rid of the children too? What have you done, William? You've repeated your father's mistakes to work through correcting his karma. He was doing what he was supposed to do when he fell into that arranged marriage. That marriage was arranged. You go and do the research. He was off gallivanting around with other women when he was supposedly with Kate. Kate spent time with Charles and Camilla, getting to know them, getting to be schooled on what was expected. So Prince Harry gives us a little bit of a window into the culture. Prince William is then described as a drunk, right? On the morning of his wedding, or drunk rather, right? So when he's nervous, we are getting some information, right? Now we have a clue, right? So when he is inwardly conflicted, when he doesn't know if he's making the right decision, if he feels bad about the decision he's making, he will get drunk in public. Remember this later for his first appearances after Kate's disappearance. And I didn't include anything in here about him bailing on his godfather's funeral. That came about right when there was the release of the information about the death of his cousin's husband, Pippa's ex. So part of that is I heard through the grapevine that he was intoxicated, so much so that they couldn't let him move forward because he would have embarrassed himself. So his handler shut that down at the last minute. Now that's just a rumor, but I forgot to include something about all that. What if we really examine this from a domestic violence lens and we see signs of the princess? Let's look back and think about signs of domestic violence that were hidden by the British media, the British press that did not do their job. So what do we see here in this moment that is unscripted, in a moment when we are not posing for the media to look happy and fake our happiness, right? The glory, the good times, right? So we have a finger wagging incident here. I think I mentioned this in my last video. The important thing I want to emphasize is that woman's face. A lot of women, we understand that experience, the disassociation that happens when it's your dad or your brother or your boyfriend or your husband that is wagging his finger at you. That's real scary. That's not okay. That's domestic violence. So we have a British media that has been downsizing this, DV. You need to understand this is not an equal relationship. This is a woman that has been sold into slavery. And we have things like Prince William and Kate Middleton both have extreme mood swings. Who has the power in this relationship? Excuse me? Right? Prince William and Kate Middleton throw things at each other during their terrible rows. So are we talking about equal power here? Like, I'm confused. No, we're not. This man's family owns her like a breeding mare. She signed away her legal rights in top secret documents. How dare the media imply this is an equal relationship with playful fighting? She has zero power. He can literally do anything he wants to her. She has no legal rights, and everything she says to the public is controlled by the PR machine of the palace. Wake up, boys and girls. It's a conspiracy. Reading the headlines. A senior royal household figure says Prince William is short-tempered and difficult. Well, that means he's an asshole to work for. Prince William is prone to tantrums, claims former Kensington Palace staffer. Has tantrums, fits, and mental illness explosions, is what I'm hearing. Prince William's hot temper leads to fiery rows with wife Kate Middleton. Domestic violence towards the wife. And Prince William left King Charles shaken after argument, new book claims. Explodes and intimidates others, including Charles. I really get a strong vibe that Charles is scared of Prince William. He probably knows that he's done something crazy. Like maybe he's a serial killer. I'm not saying he is, but like maybe if he was, that would explain why his father is so scared of him. Mm. Now, this lady, Glowly, Kate Middleton, has not been seen for a while, and she is to have a mysteriously long absence from public life due to medical recovery. I wonder why this coincides with various publications seeking to remind us how verbally and physically turbulent their marriage is. There may be an invisible royal contact, but that may not stop journalists almost bursting to spill some tea or lay a narrative ahead of a possible upcoming expose. So I think there is going to be some truth coming out. There's truth that is coming up out and it's strong, right? It's strong. This lady, I would say, is a psychic because she feels it. She feels it. I feel like psychics are picking up on this one big time. All right. Well, we were fools, right? Because we didn't pick up on the obvious. This woman was getting hurt. Supposedly, we got a black eye over here. The fact that she kept getting the same hand injured, I think around November of 2023. That was right before all this stuff happened. And people wanted to know, why is Kate Middleton sporting bandaged hands again? Why does this lady keep hurting her hands? There was some ridiculous report about how she did it on her trampoline and she did the injury in the most mom way. If we find out later that she was getting beat at home, aren't we going to feel the fool for saying, oh, you just got your broken fingers in that mom way? You go, girl. Doesn't that sound crazy when you think about DV happening at home? This woman might have been petrified and scared and told to act normal or she would get another beating. All right, we got a history of anger issues with this guy, right? He's got some mental health concerns, maybe. I get a strong yes. Strong yes of people having hidden mental health concerns. But now it's exploded in such a way that no one can stop people from finding out about it. But turns out there's a history of people being concerned about this guy's anger issues. All right. You can look for some articles on this. You don't have to take my word for it, but it looks like he had a violent temper and he attacked his mother, possibly. Go ahead and research that. And so here we go. We are getting it thrown in our face that this woman keeps getting injured. And then we ignore the clues. And they're hiding the evidence right now. Like we are the fools right now because they're hiding the evidence right now. Now would be the time to be digging. Now would be the time to send in Scotland Yard or whatever you all got over there. Just send them on in. Someone's got to be doing their job. Someone has to not be working for the crown. Come on, folks. We are losing precious time. Someone needs to get in there and collect some evidence. I want to see live feeds of everything you are doing. This is going to create a larger cultural conversation. I've told you guys that on how we protect men in power who hurt women. There are going to be so many women that are going to go and like free that lady that David Scientology guy keeps locked up, that his wife that just no one will go check on. It's going to be a wave of angry Amazon women. They're going to go and free David's wife and take vengeance on the crown. There's going to be crowds in the street. It ain't going to be that pussy revolution, pussycat thing with Hillary Clinton, who I'm not a fan of. Like, it's not going to be that. These women are going to be angry. You destroyed their dream of happiness. They thought that the dream was real. They thought romance was real. They're going to have a harsh wake up call when you find her dead, right? It's going to create a revolution of angry housewives. All right. Now we know that Prince Harry toned down his book. So what do you think he means when he says that his brother knocked him to the ground? broke that dog bowl in his back, did all this crazy stuff. That tells you he's a bully, right? He's temperamental. He's got a God complex. He's unforgiving. He's violent. He's impulsive. He's emotionally unstable when angry. Do you understand? This is the temperament of the man. And we had to downsize it over here. He is a hero because he's talking about DV in the family. I'm saying we have the two archetypes of the old and the new. We have the archetype of the old, which says, I get to do what I get to do, and the new, which says, let's talk about why we do what we do. You get me? Part 3, what happened to Kate and the children? Well, this is not a pretty picture, but let's dig in. I might get emotional. I'm going to take a drink here. Okay, let's follow the clues. I have to ask myself, did she know it was over? At her last sighting, did she know deep down that something was going to happen to her and possibly the children? Because she looked down when she wasn't posing. She looked worried. So what did she know was coming her way? This is the last sighting. And what do we see? Dig deep into that article. When you think it's all a PR piece, she showed signs of discomfort. What was going on? She wasn't exactly her best self. What was going on? She had to conceal her unease. Why did she have unease? She's getting some kind of surgery last minute. Is that it? Is that the face of a woman that is getting surgery last minute? Fleeting moments. She's got fleeting moments between smiles. That's when you are going to catch this woman whose job it is to pose. You are going to catch her saying something, doing something, and making you realize that that's what's really going on. So, in between those smiles is where you are going to see the real woman. And those instances only seem to happen when she was moving. She gazed blankly ahead. Gazing blankly ahead, you are having a panic attack. You are struggling internally. We know what gazing blankly ahead means. This is the last time we saw her and the three children. I don't want to think that he killed the three children, but the more I think about it, it didn't occur to me until yesterday. I was thinking more about it, and I thought, well, we haven't seen those kids either, I don't think. And then I started thinking more about it, and I said, wow, like I guess Rose could have really wanted to have her children be the heirs and basically make him somehow off all of them. Like I don't even know, but some women they just control men, and mentally ill men are really easy to control. I don't know. I don't know. I just this it seemed like something was going on with the children, and I didn't want to deny it. I didn't even want to talk about it, but I gotta channel what I'm feeling, and I would ask people to start looking for those kids. But anyway, back to the hospital. There's no proof that she entered or left that hospital, and that hospital had reporters on it like flies on shit. So it's crazy to me that they think that she went in that hospital, the hospital that they said she went into. Yeah. So this was the last picture of her taken in the church. This is a face of a woman who is worried, a woman who is thinking, a woman who is pensive, a woman who is scared, a woman who is stressed. This is not the face of a woman that is worried about abdominal surgery. I think she's worried about something else. Something smells fishy to me. We are losing precious time on finding out what happened to this woman and her children. All right, so you have to understand legally, this woman can't speak. She can't legally speak for herself. She has signed paperwork, top secret paperwork. So she doesn't get a chance to really ever speak. no one really wants to dig into the fact that this woman's case is a human rights issue. The United States government should be taking this up. People should be going in there to free this woman. Sweden, come on, do your job. And here's this one comment she makes, and it's quite chilling to me. She says in this interview with this question, she says, William would kill me if I did. She was asked a question about having more kids, but she could have said anything. And I think she has so little that she is allowed to ever say. That the particular nature of that question and how it was answered is very peculiar to me. It does stand out, something to think about, just gives me the chills. I don't know about you, could be nothing, but this woman doesn't get to say much that's unscripted. I don't know, I get a bad feeling. So, did he kill them all so Rose can be queen and their children the heirs? I get a possible yes for that when I ask the ghosts. This video talked about 9 weeks. 9 weeks since Kate and their children. We have 1, 2, and 3 in this picture. Well, I don't know. Something's going on. Where are they? Why I think we're missing the bigger picture. Where are all of them? Where are all of them? Did he do something crazy for Rose? So we know ahead of time that maybe their relationship was going sour, but now I feel like the media wants to paint it in a certain way to help William. So they're trying to paint it as like an issue between money and her parents and their relationship souring, and then her souring on him and being part of the monarchy. That's a bunch of BS. But we know that things weren't going well. I just wouldn't necessarily follow this particular line of thought because that seems like that's being pushed as a narrative recently to try to make you like suspicious of like family politics instead of like a DV perpetrator. All right, I guess we're back on. I thought we got cut off for a while and I was in the middle of something, and now I'm just getting a little cracker snack to keep myself going because we're getting into harder territory. All right, here we go. So let's assume there was an incident, right, that involved Kate and the children where they got seriously injured or killed. Now, just accept that as like that's where we're going, right? Other folks can go other places, but we are going from that perspective because that's what the ghosts are telling me. Right. So the only information we actually have that seems to be credible and we got proof is this visit to the hospital on December 28th. This is the only proof of any hospital visit. Perez Hilton is talking about this ambulance visit. Now, maybe he doesn't know anything and he's just drawing his own conclusions, but he has some pretty good sources. So he can't just go out there and say, this is domestic violence related, folks, right? But he can draw a couple dots and then let you connect them. And so the dots are, there was a visit to the hospital, right, on the 28th of December, which was right after Kate looked so bad. There she is looking so bad. So let's just say something terribly violent happens to her, potentially all the kids. And then we start with December 28th. I'm getting a positive on that she and the kids, or just her, went to the hospital. I mean, he could have killed them all on December 25th and just had their bodies disposed of and cremated, so the evidence is destroyed on the 28th. He might have panicked and just sat with the dead bodies for like 3 days. I'm just getting something psycho. Something psycho. Okay. So let's assume as well, because I get kind of a weird feeling about the cancer diagnosis. Like maybe he had cancer. There was a woman that came on the Spanish TV and said he didn't have cancer, and she knew the family real well. I'm normally a very trusted source, but it doesn't really matter if the dude has cancer or doesn't have cancer. What matters is, what does it do for his PR image? This is a man who probably is pulling out a card for like a crisis. If there was a PR crisis, what can Charles do to avoid the worst of it? And they did a poll, and if he had cancer, that would make everyone feel bad for him. So who knows? But like, I think people had doubts about whether he could handle the responsibility. Like, he's a little bit soft, right? He's into homeopathy. He has a delicate disposition. But let's run with the poor King Charles narrative, right? Let's just assume like the ghosts are right, William lost his shit, right? Well, King Charles would have to pull that card of what does he need to do if there's an emergency crisis, right? So then King Charles would pull the emergency card, right? And all of a sudden he's got cancer, and so he's out, and he doesn't have to deal with any of the fallout and the insanity, because he can just pretend to be a doddering old idiot when it's convenient. And a sickness, what does it do, man? It incites pity. So why would this guy need pity? If we thought about it from a PR perspective, why does this man need pity, right? Because we will need to excuse him of a great crime or a great oversight, right? So we know that a monarch cannot be held accountable legally, criminally, or civilly for any crime. So maybe he's going to let William be king, and then William can't be held accountable for whatever horrible thing he's done. Maybe he's wrestling with that decision to try to excuse William for what he's done. Maybe he's in shock. Who knows? But he can't be held accountable for what William has done. So he can always blame, he can say, I was told this, I was told that, or whatever. Now, he did say he went to go visit Catherine in the hospital. He was the only one who did that. But maybe he can spin that to say, he didn't actually see her, but he thought he talked to someone that looked like her through a screen or something, to explain that he had had the wool pulled over his eyes too. But I can guarantee you that Camilla is plotting and has something figured out to save her and Charles from disgrace. Now, if they pass Kate's death off on a more serious condition that they weren't transparent about, and kill off those loose ends now and destroy evidence, clues, people that will talk, they can paint it as a suicide. You know that. They can paint the murder of Princess Diana as something other than what it was. They can do whatever they want and they can paint it however they choose to. Now, Camilla is a smart cookie. And so you need to think about her and the long game. The long game is where Camilla is at. She's been playing the long game since she started. She is a great strategist. So she is probably playing both sides because she's probably scared of this crazy guy. She's probably scared of him and she doesn't know what he will do next. So clearly, William took issue with Charles' move to protect himself with a cancer diagnosis because he never issued a public statement with his sympathies for his father. He never visited his father in the hospital. But perhaps he was too racked with guilt and mental health issues. So he had decompensated into his own madness over what he had done, and he was drinking. But his people could have put out a statement. So I think, he's a person with a temper and he shows his temper. So he shows his cards real easy and shows you where he's pissed at people. He wouldn't even go on that Princess Diana special with his brother at the same time. So Piers Morgan, Camilla's mouthpiece. And if you don't know that Piers Morgan is Camilla's mouthpiece, I encourage you to do some research on that fella. Well, he is telling us right now that we're being called to do further inquiry, right? Camilla does not want to expose William if she doesn't have to, but she probably has to. It's probably that bad that she has to call in the outside forces when normally, like I said, these people handle their own business. They kill people, they bring justice, they do whatever they do, their crimes, their retrieval of monies that someone else stole. They do all that on an individual basis because they got their own government going on with each other, right? You think the police these people? No, man. Wake up. So something happened that we know now because Camilla is basically asking for help through Pierce Morgan. So something, it's so big that it can't be covered up. So what would be so big, right? That tells us a lot. What could be so big? It could not be covered up that Camilla is saying through Pierce Morgan, like, come here, help, help. And the craziest, nuttiest idea of all that comes through the ghost and is asking me to ask this of you. Do you think he did it? Do you think he killed his entire family to be united with Rose and his potential child or children with Rose if she is indeed pregnant now? So how could he play off the death of the whole family? If he just killed Kate, he could pass it off as a suicide. I'm confused why I'm getting this message about the kids, but it probably just wasn't planned. The message I'm getting right now, that I'm channeling right now, is that it just wasn't planned. He just lost it for his love, for his lover, who he did it for her. Do you see? It's a crime of passion. It's a crime of love in a way. Let's go through the two factions theory. This is kind of like who controls the monarchy. All right. So King Charles is not an alpha male. He's not an alpha male. He's a homeopathic male. And so I don't tend to think that he has much control over the narrative because he always has kind of uh, acquiesced to Camilla and taken Camilla's direction. He's kind of someone that likes to have direction from others. Right now, he's just doing what Camilla tells him to do, right? And Prince William is governed by love. He lost his mother. He wants to find love. He has a romantic connection with Rose, but Rose also controls William. So he's sort of easily caught up in that. Like, he'll do anything for Rose. Now, Camilla is working with William, right? But she is also doing some other stuff to try to get help for the situation. Princess Kate, Princess Kate's family and staff, they're pretty much all controlled by William. They have signed away all their legal rights to talk. And then when we see crazy things happen with the media, with the PR release of bad photos, these people are silly who don't see through that. Of course, these people know what they are doing. They want you to come look and knock on their door. They're not used to needing CPS. They're not used to needing the police. They don't know how to ask for help because they always have handled things internally. But now things have hit a crescendo. They can't handle it. They're letting you know there is a crisis afoot. Come help. There's a problem with the situation. They can only say it in certain ways, so they're letting you know, come knock on our door, please. Please, something isn't right at home. Now, these pictures are hard to find. You have to research, like try looking for nightclub, Rose, Prince William, he's dancing, he's having a good time with his friends. Someone takes a photo of him and Rose. This is like a regular occurrence. These people in the certain circles, they know Rose and William as a pair. You know, that this is like the underground elite circles of people having a good time. We don't know if William lost it, but something tells me he did. Something tells me he did. Let's look at his eyes. His eyes are the windows to the soul. This is his escort on the one photo we have from him visiting Kate for 45 minutes. Kate was in the hospital for 2 weeks. This is the one photo we have of him actually going to the hospital. Is he happy to see his wife? No, he looks like a robot. Does he have a psychotic stare because he's all stressed out? Is he keeping up appearances? Is he stubborn? But this man looks worried and alert. Maybe he's reporting back to Camilla about how crazy it's going. I don't know. I just get a vibe of I'm guilty, but I'm willing to pay the price for love. Pay the price for my Rose. Pay the price. That is a person in shock over their actions. I don't know. I don't know. Something's going on. It looks mentally ill to me. So then he comes out of hiding, right? He was in hiding for a while, right? When she first went into her quote surgery, right? And he's wobbling, he's blinking. All these people think he's drunk left and right. We know from his history, he gets drunk and when he feels conflicted. So he's losing his shit in public and no one's noticing. So is he falling apart under pressure? Where are the kids? Where is Kate? Did he kill her? Right? And so more and more people are reporting online about how he's drunk and stuff. Well, why is he losing his shit? What's going on? So he seems to show up drunk as he re-enters society for judgment. Do we sense his crimes? So then we have the BAFTA awards. I'm always saying that wrong. He has some really wild behavior there. He says crazy things. You look at his face looks nuts. These women look uncomfortable and bewildered, but he just says some crazy stuff and seems to be very uncomfortable in his body and just kind of nuts, like manic, or I don't know, uncomfortable in his body, like he's guilty of a great crime. So in February, we figure he's unraveling. Perhaps the guilt is getting to him. That is when he comes back into the public eye. And basically, he tells women he didn't have time to watch any films, even though he's been at home just kicking it with Kate, right? Could have watched some of the films. He's like the head of the industry or whatever. And then he made a comment where he remarked to the woman who had been sexually abused and raped in this movie that he thought she must have had a lot of fun making the film. So he's making gaffes. Did I say that right? He's making gaffes, but like, what's going on with him that he's just totally acting, and I would say bizarre. So people did not look at these patterns. So the rumor on the street was that Prince Philip was kind of a thug, like ordering hits on people, that kind of stuff, mafia stuff, I guess. But this kind of stuff has been going down for thousands of years. These people are bloodthirsty. You have to understand how they think. Did they know about his behavior? Probably, but probably a lot of them have secrets like this. So the odd thing about this is he showed up with bruises on his face, and I forgot to find a picture of that, but go ahead and research. He was at the Holocaust memorial service, and he showed up with bruises on his face, and it looked like ski goggle glasses, like sunglasses, suntan from the ski glasses. And then he had bruises on his face and like on his neck, maybe. And that would have lined up with a kerfuffle with the cousin's husband, the ex of Pippa. Like maybe Pippa confided in the ex about what was happening, and then was Thomas going to talk? Now there are reports of the two of them being together, but the real interesting thing was when he pulled out of his godfather's service right when the news dropped about the cousin's husband's death. The palace issued a statement saying the two had nothing to do with each other, and they never comment on idle gossip, and no one was drawing that connection of the two of them together. So that was really quite odd. It's also interesting to note who goes to this funeral. I think the vibe I get is Charles is checked out. He can't deal with things. Let's just think something crazy for a minute and imagine that Prince William did hurt this man and killed him. So why did he go to the funeral when no one else was going? Was he trying to prove something? Was he trying to reinforce a point? Like, if you talk, I will kill you. I'm just wondering if everyone is scared of him. Something doesn't feel right about the murder. I mean, the death of that man. It feels like a murder. And that made me start thinking, like, I don't know, there was this woman who ended up killing herself, supposedly. She was involved with a radio stunt prank to find out about Princess Kate. And supposedly she felt so embarrassed she went ahead and killed herself. That seemed highly suspicious to me. I like to give people homework. I would like people to research that to see if there was any other theories about why this woman killed herself over being embarrassed, about releasing intimate details. Like, that's the official narrative. But now that we know that the palace can't be trusted for photos ever again, like, maybe we can now start to ask some questions, like, what was the story of this woman who killed herself? And is there any correlation or any kind of theories related to any kind of suspicions? I would like to know more information. I'm just getting a little arrow. They're called like psychic arrows that I get. And the arrow is saying, hey, look at this lady, look at this lady. And I say, okay, okay. So the clock is ticking, right? Like, I get that he's creating a storyline of, like, oh, someone on his team is saying, oh, we're gonna paint her as being mentally unstable, and then she'll commit suicide, and it'll all be good. Like, let's just start creating this storyline, right? But you have to realize after a certain point, right? If they could prop this bitch up and get her to talk on the phone or pop on a Zoom, they would. This tells us this woman is unconscious or dead. She was active during COVID on Zoom. She can just pop on that Zoom. It ain't too hard. What's wrong with her face? They don't want us to see her face. She can't even get on a phone call. What's going on? And then we begin to see the drip, drip, drip of Rose. Rose is entering the scene. Rose is entering. She is stage left. She's about to get on that stage. So we now have some hints. We got the Daily Mail, I think, doing a story on her. So we are going to get into Rose. Rose is going to take over somehow. Is that how this is going? Yep, we got a real message coming through that Rose is coming through. Rose is coming. I get a definite yes on that. Rose is coming, and Rose can control this crazy man to some degree. I mean, at least she thinks she can. Now, when we look at tradition, you have a rebel father, Prince Charles. He broke tradition by making his mistress the queen, right? That's breaking tradition. But now we see the next generation. We see the warrior who says, no, I'm gonna take it a step further. Maybe he dips back into those primal impulses of kind of that inbred royal animalistic culture of kill, kill, kill. But he is going to take it a step further, and he is going to include his children with the mistress as heirs. He is bringing the children along also, because they will be the only heirs available if all the children are gone. I don't want to be dark, but I'm just seeing some weird themes here. I just want you guys to look into this. So more and more, we're seeing Iris, who is Lady Rose Hanbury's daughter, introduced as the heir of William. He wants to introduce these children to you. He is ready. I see it happening in the next couple weeks. They need to bring the public up to speed. A lot of the public doesn't know about Lady Iris, and a child born out of wedlock being recognized would be the first in the history of the monarchy, and that is huge. Now, I don't know, but Rose may have said to him, William, it sure would be wonderful if these people were gone. I wish it could be just us, William. I wish it could be just us. And part of him in the manic state after he killed Kate, he just went crazy and killed the kids because, he wanted to make her love him. Maybe he's still looking for his mother's love. And now you see William is reinventing himself. He talks about the Middle East. He's coming out with I statements. You see those I statements, folks? And he's only using his initial. He is soft launching William Single 2.0. So then we get to part five. Part five is the lies that become traceable even for the sheep. The official story doesn't line up. Now, this is the first big lie that was catchable, right? Even for the sheep. They had plans, right, to go to Italy, and that was in the news, to visit the Vatican in the spring. So the planned surgery was not on the books, and her staff reported not knowing about it. So none of that was planned. But you know what that tells us? That gives us some vital information, right? What does this tell us? That whatever happened was not expected. It was sudden, it was unplanned. And you know what I correlate that with? I correlate that with human emotions. I correlate that with characteristics of someone who's losing control. Who do we know who loses control? And we feel like the surgery maybe is a story to give time to develop a narrative, and they're going to hide that evidence. Now, this theory, there was a theory by the Spanish media personality who had close ties with Buckingham Palace, and people consider her a close source connected to Camilla. She started talking about this whole thing that she wasn't going to back off of about the coma. Well, we don't even know. Camilla could be helping William by killing Kate off with the slow coma narrative. Or we don't know. She could be trying to get a message out to the populace to understand that, hello, dire crisis, and press for more info in order to draw attention to the crisis. So we just don't know. Either they're trying to kill her off with the coma and they're going to slip her into some kind of paralysis, and then that'll be it. She'll be on life support, and who knows what they're going to do to her. Or it really is a cry for help that someone is trying to let folks know it's real serious and please ask more questions. So we don't know, and it could be a combination of the two. Now, until now, what did we have? We had the antithesis of Diana. Diana was a wild, wild thing. She was a cult. She could not be tamed. She could not be harnessed. They killed her, I believe. Now we have a different person. We have a person who is malleable, who's a commoner, right? So what is Kate known for? She's known for dependability. She's known for reliability. She's known for consistency, right? And now, all of a sudden, after all these years of being a sherbet, we are supposed to believe that she's now emotionally broken, right? She's camera shy. We're insensitive for asking information. And she's too preoccupied to pop on a Zoom like she did during COVID. I don't think so. So why is this description of Kate's nature changing? And why does William need to make Kate sound mentally unstable? We need to ask ourselves some hard DV questions. Now, this is strange. There's no reports of Carol and Michael visiting their daughter, no reports of the siblings visiting their sister. What's going on there? If it's a facade, are they not willing to comply? If it's a facade, are they not being allowed to help out? Are they being ordered to stay at home? This is a separate question. Who is allowing or advising Prince William's PR to release statements alleging daily visits when we know there is just one documented visit? Did they want him to get caught in that lie? Someone in Williams' PR department is trying to create some chaos to make us go and dig. So why did her family not visit her? Ask yourself that question. No reports of visits from her parents, siblings, or children. I think Pippa went on vacation or something crazy like that. Now, remember I said that the media, the press, they were on that hospital like flies on shit. Well, you have all that media scrutiny, and there are no pictures of her leaving the hospital. I get no pictures entering. They didn't know she was going to that hospital, right? Maybe they did, but to not be able to catch any photos of her leaving that hospital, that's certainly quite odd. And now we start to hear different messages, right? I think this was, I forget, it looks like February 5th. What is with this abdominal surgery now taking 9 months? Like, that is crazy. None of us are buying that. But they slip it in so smooth, right? They're slow walking the death announcement, right? They're destroying the evidence and the witnesses. They really need more time to die, to kill her off, right? This is crazy, right? This is nuts. We're not going to see her for almost a year. What are you telling me? That's crazy. But then we really start to think about it from two different perspectives. There are people in that palace who want this to come out if it happened, and so they are planting stories. David James, February 27th, 2024, 10:23 a.m. What would happen to Prince William if he was charged with a serious crime? That's letting us know someone is doing their job. Someone is saying that it's likely that this guy did something nuts. My spirit guides say this kind of PR is from Camilla and Co., right? I think Camilla would hide it in a hot second if she could, but I think this is such big news that they can't escape William being found out for what he's done here. William is going down. Prince Charles is dying, William's going down. But Camilla has to get the message out there because it's kind of like Camilla and William are both working to control the narrative with the press. They both have their individual press offices. I think she does humor William and lets him think that she's helping. But the monarchy is used to people who have mental illness. You could say King Charles has mental illness. You could say Diana has mental illness. Like, we all got to think about mental illness being something that they're kind of used to, right? So this killing of wives stuff, it might be a few centuries back, but that wasn't so new. That wasn't so new either, right? The real truth is these people are not, they are not civilized, right? They said that they were the civilized ones, but they are not the civilized ones. They are the brutal savages, right? So it's like we're all waking up to that, right? So we see that William's PR team is pushing the mentally ill narrative. And Princess Diana fans, they are starting to get suspicious, right? Because this is like PTSD for those bitches, right? They didn't do nothing when it was Diana's turn, and now they're like, wait a second, are you guys now going to make her mentally ill and then throw her away? Well, no, man, that's triggering to these women. And they saw that same thing with Meghan for all the people that support her. So you see a planting of the idea of the mental health narrative. This is something that they do in history, in Western history, where they dismiss women. They go, "Oh, she's crazy, right? She's the witch. She's crazy. She's nuts." And they send them off to the mental asylum where they give them a lobotomy or take out their uterus or do all kinds of experiments on them, rape them. So Camilla's team could be helping with this very well. I get a sense that she might, but she's also sending Piers Morgan out there to issue dire warnings and need for scrutiny. So I think I get the feeling Camilla is just a better long-term strategist than William. And William, I get the feeling he operates impulsively. He is ruled by emotion. So now we have a Prince William that thinks Princess Kate is emotionally unstable. So now we have a different narrative afoot. William's team is going to paint her like he's trying to make it seem right, like it's her decision to leave the monarchy, like it pains him to be the rational one. He's trying to help her, but he can't. I don't know. I got told by my spirits that this car crash needs to be evaluated. You can see that there's a person that's leaning over on the ground on the left picture. Someone rams their car into Buckingham Palace gate and breaks it. They're now repairing the gate. I don't know if it's all repaired by now. So were the details hushed up? I don't know. I just was channeling some voices and it was saying, you need to check this out. Was someone possibly upset about William? Was it someone that knew him that crashed into the palace? Was it someone that was trying to get to him? Someone that was trying to get to Kate? Someone that was trying to free someone? I got told to check this out. Then we have Prince Harry arriving in London to meet King Charles. So I have a little constructed conversation here that I think is relevant. Did the king say, hey, listen, Harry, you're a little shit, and I've cut you out of the will, but you have a chance at redemption. Your brother has gone off the skids. Camilla and I, we have it under control, but some crazy stuff might come out in the media. I need you to keep that wife of yours under control. If you two want back in, you need to not comment on what's going on and go along with the narrative that you're supporting me during my sickness. Just keep your big mouth shut, especially about your sister-in-law. So Harry jets to see daddy, right? And like Why does he have to discuss that in person? I get it that if you believe that he's seriously ill or something, but like, let's just say that he has to have this important conversation in person. You got to wonder, like, why is it such a top secret conversation? That's what I'm getting with this. My vibe is top secret conversation. Then we get to part 6, right? The first supposed photos that come out, right? And these photos are garbage, right? None of these photos look good. They got AI composition going on, just crazy nonsense, right? Looks like a cover up from the get go, and everyone's smelling something different, but something dirty. So here we have that photo, the first photo that came out that's supposed to be Kate. But I wanted to focus on Kate's mom for a minute. Look at her mama. She's supposedly helping her with pick up the kids from school or some nonsense. I'm not even sure those kids went to school. No one has any pictures to show me that those kids are still alive. But right now, what are we looking at here? Does she look happy? Does that look like a woman who's just taken her grandkids to school with her daughter who's out and healing up fine, nice to her, nice and next to her in that seat? This looks like a woman who is miserable, right? She just looks like she's miserable, like she's doing something she doesn't want to do, posing in a photo she doesn't want to pose in. I don't know, man. Ma'am, she does not look happy to me. Does she look happy to you? She looks very sad. Something's up with that lady. I don't know. She doesn't look happy. Then we have the photo. This is Kate on the left. You can look at that jawline. You can look at that face. And then you have a face on the right, different chin, kind of a square chin. Most everyone agrees this is not Kate. This is some ridiculousness. So someone is encouraging this poor boy to hang himself with his own rope. Like someone is coming to this fool and saying, we're going to get Kate's mom to ride in a car with this lady and we're going to get this picture and it's going to be great. And that's going to put people's fears to rest while we buy more time. Someone is giving that advice to this poor fool. So is it Camilla or is it the Prince's PR team, or are they working together to encourage his audacity and foolhardiness with PR moves? He is running the show on the Kate Middleton story, but we have to ask ourselves, who is advising him and what is their motives? Maybe they want this fool to be caught. So this is the moment the world knows he's lying, right? This is the moment no one will ever be able to turn back from. So never before in human history has a kill order been issued on a palace photo. This is it. Major picture agencies have issued a mandatory kill switch of a new picture of Kate Middleton. Now you have to ask yourself, why would professionals produce such a clumsy piece of PR? Everything in their public relation department gets run through their public relation department. Every photo gets run through their public relation department. These people are highly competent. Do not be fools, right? So they won't release the original photo. What does that tell you? Supposedly it's a compilation of a baby bank photo montage and they changed all the clothing color in the Photoshop. So go ahead and research that on your own. We got some moments of throwing Kate under the bus, but Kate like minored in photography or something. So they said that was her clumsy Photoshop fail. Any other PR people would catch a Photoshop fail of this magnitude unless it was done on purpose. Duh. So, AKA, the excuse she supposedly issued, right, was this clumsy Photoshop fail, but she like she minored in like photography. So, this ain't her, this ain't her, this ain't her. It ain't her in the photo. It ain't her giving an apology. This lady isn't around, right? But what can we tell from this? These people are willing to risk their jobs. Someone on that PR team is begging for help. They are saying, help, help, save us from crazy, right? Come inspect the back garden, turn up the stones, find the dead body, do something. Come to the house before he burns it all down, before he kills someone else. They are saying, come and Find out why we would do something this crazy. Find out the real story. We are welcoming you in. So we have someone taking account for this mistake. They are throwing her under the bus. Their PR department is going to look through any photo that is going out to the masses. How stupid do they think we are? These are not people putting together something at home with like a little home business in their living room. These are people with like 100 staff just for PR. You have got to be kidding me, right? That something got by like this for the first picture of the princess. No. Craziness. No. So before we dig into Piers Morgan and what he's saying and what he's saying and what he's saying and how important it is what he's saying, you need to realize that Queen Camilla, going back way, way back, she really has a connection with Piers Morgan. So Piers Morgan has talked openly about his friendship with Camilla. That lets you know when he's talking, he's basically talking for Camilla when he's talking about the royals, because like she's his mouthpiece. He's her mouthpiece. All right. So now that we have that established, go ahead and do the research. But Piers Morgan is Camilla's mouthpiece. So he's out there and he's telling us where to look, right? Like, how stupid do you have to be? He's saying Prince William is trying to cover something up, right? Well, why aren't we jumping in there to get him before he burns everything down or destroys the evidence? He's also saying if it's just a bit of small, harmless retouching gone wrong, nobody will care. And if they don't release the original pic, the conspiracy theories they were trying to kill will get way worse. Now, it was a trap, most likely. Someone told William, hey, William, we'll just create a little harmless photo montage with the Photoshop. Then we'll send that out there and we'll use this baby boutique or like baby thing that the homeless women go to, like the homeless shelter. We'll use those photos and we'll like mix and match and add color here and shadow there and that kind of stuff. And someone put him in a trap, right? And he said, oh yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. You go ahead and put out that photo, right? But it's, if they can't, they knew when they set him up for that trap that he would not be able to provide the original photo, and that would create a kerfuffle like no other, like across the world. This is like a global thing. This is going nuts, right? This is going crazy. So someone put him in a trap for that. So he's basically telling you, right? He's telling you they're hiding something, right? So this royal insider says Princess Kate photo scandal shows wheels are coming off. That means something is happening. That means there is war internally. That means there are people. There's only so many people he can kill who know the truth. Eventually, there will be revolution from within. The staff are not going to be happy maybe that William gets away with murder. You got to think that some of them got good souls. So then you got photographers recently that are saying that this third photo coming out is real. Now there's a chance that these photographers are lying, or they took a photo with someone else, or they're willing to lie for the firm. You just don't know, but that is not Kate. If you look at the silhouette of that woman and the like jawline or like the cheekbone line, I don't know, that just, it doesn't seem like Kate, and it's highly suspicious. Like, why are you turning away when we need to see you? Like, something is going on, and it isn't William trying to be protective. William is not protective of Kate. So then you see this picture on social media making the rounds or whatever, and everyone's saying, oh, they're getting along quite famously. They're getting along just great, right? Well, You never know what's going on in Camilla's head. You never know. She is a long game plotter, that one. So she could be playing the long game. She could be playing the long game. And also, she could be scared of him, right? Like, if he's killing people left and right and drinking and just out of control, like, she could just be like holding it together until something comes along to knock this guy out of power, because she doesn't think he's going to be able to squeak away with getting away with all this murder. So we don't know that. I wouldn't assume that she thinks he's doing a great job if he's killing people or doing stuff. She might be quite scared and trying to not show it and trying to get some help. So now we get to part 7, the themes of what's happening. Where's it all going? Well, folks, we have an independent operator here. This gentleman right here, he is a single man on the move. He is an independent operator. You see this face? He is stubborn. He is going to make it happen his way. And he is ready to cut some heads down if that's what it takes to make things happen. Now, I want you to look at this face. This is a recent photo of William. I don't know. I showed you that photo of Prince Philip in the beginning, and you could see that he looked like a gremlin or something. He looked like he was an evil thing. Well, I see evil in William's face there, and I'm sorry to have to say it because he's Prince Diana's son, but I think he has severe mental illness and maybe killed people. Again, that's just what the ghosts tell me. So now we have different themes coming up, right? Like some senior staffers are finally willing to speak up. Maybe Camilla told them to go ahead and speak up. They're like, yo, we haven't seen our boss, who's like a type A oldest child micromanager, right? She's the oldest sibling. She's a type A. That's why she didn't get along with William. Plus, she's a rooster and he's a dog, highly incompatible. But in birth order, they're just not a good match. We see feminist heroes that are coming out of the closet. Praise be, praise be. These feminist heroes are coming out and they're saying, where is Kate Middleton? Where is she? We will look back in time at these heroes and say, thank you for sticking your neck out to look for this woman and to demand justice. We should be there right now, searching the grounds, finding the children, finding her. And we see that the public is starting to ask questions. They're starting to understand that playing the doll for these men wearing these high heels, playing this act for so long, that now what's happening could be domestic violence. And now we're seeing this with a whole different eye. Now, Murad Morali is great. He's on YouTube. Quite exciting fella and gentleman, but he talks quite a bit. And just today, he was releasing that William is now taking a 4-week break. The Prince of Wales will pause public duties to support his family during the children's 4-week holiday. He just came back. He was drunk everywhere. He was screwing around. He wasn't going to his godfather's funeral. He was showing up at the Holocaust memorial with bruises on his neck. He hasn't really been doing much at all, and they got tons of nannies and stuff. So, like, what is going on, right? 4 more weeks he's now taken off. So this is PR crisis mode. So when they say pause public duties in royal speak, that is having a breakdown. I just can't help but think someone had crashed into Buckingham Palace, right? Well, a temporary gate was erected, right? And then there was some kind of article saying this incident is not thought to be terror related, right? But what if, like, the astrologers, they point out that Pluto in Aquarius, which is where it is now, was also happening during the French and American revolutions. It's kind of like guillotine times, like we're done with the monarchy, we're gonna break it all down, right? Well, what if this picture ends up being like that iconic picture, right? Like where it all started to fall down and it was all represented by that gate that someone broke, the walls of monarchy, the walls of Buckingham Palace, right? It's all going down, and we'll look back and be like, whoa, that picture was symbolic when they had that gate up to just it represented people trying to break it all down, man. So here we get to the last part, which may seem a little weird to you guys, but I am a psychic and I do like to talk about prophecies and curses. So I do believe in ghosts. I talk to ghosts, that kind of thing. I do think the Nostradamus stuff is pretty interesting for those of you who want to talk about it. I do think the curse of Diana's ring is very plausible, that maybe the ring was cursed like people talk about and that it shouldn't have been the wedding ring for these two, right? But as far as Nostradamus goes, like there is something there that seems very, very interesting to me, and I really want to break it down a little bit farther. So let's look at what it says here. Because they disapproved of his divorce, so that would be William. Sorry, that would be, oh, this could be very interesting. I'm just realizing, I don't know. If William gets divorced, then this could be William also. But I think everyone assumes this is Charles, right? That no one ever approved of his divorce, but it could be that William ends up getting divorced, right? And then we never see Kate, so he never admits that she is dead, right? But because they don't approve of his divorce, but really they don't approve of his murdering of his wife, but he just isn't going to get caught for that because they cover up everything, right? So maybe he does get thrown out, right? They will force out the king of the islands. A man will replace him who never expected to be king. I want you to hold on to that thought for a moment. Let's say Charles dies and William tries to divorce Kate without ever proving that she's alive, right? Then they could force him out, right? So this could be William. I'm just seeing this in a new light. I wasn't thinking about it with William, but I want to move to the next. So he says something that's very interesting. The exact words were replaced by one who will have no mark of a king. Now, for me, and I'm just saying this is me, right? Um, a man will replace who never expected to be king. Well, people say this is Harry, but no, Harry expected to be king if something happened to William. So at some point Harry would have expected to be king if something happened. This is a man who never expected to be king. So I know this sounds crazy. I want you guys to stay with me. This is just my psychic vision. Just stay with me, and you can disagree, but just stay with me. If the Nostradamus theory is correct, I just want to take it one step further, right? Now, everyone thinks this guy's wacko, right? He claims to be Camilla and Charles' son, but Camilla and Charles refuse to do the DNA testing. So if people got so upset with the crown, right, that they're protecting someone that beats their wife, that they're protecting someone that potentially killed their wife and killed their children, or beat their wife or whatever, if they get so fed up with him and how he's handled things, right, that they don't trust William and the monarchy falls and Charles is asleep at the wheel and Camilla can only do so much, there could be this revolution for truth, right? We don't want no more AI photographs. We don't want more lies from the palace, right? we want the truth like Diana gave us the truth, right? So maybe when they push hard and they go look for Diana's body, I mean, Princess Kate's body, and they find out some heavy truths that are not pretty about these folks, they may then say, okay, this guy Simon Charles Durante Day, maybe he deserves a chance to have his case be heard, and then maybe he proves he has genetic heritage with these people, right? That he is the son of Camilla, he is the son of Prince King Charles, right? And maybe Camilla wants, like on some level, her first child to be named king, even if she thinks he's a nincompoop, right? Like, we don't know. I get the feeling Charles and Camilla don't really think highly of their son if this man Simon is their son, but Camilla may want her blood on the throne, like, who knows, right? But it's also interesting if the vibe of the time is like, we are done with the monarchy, we are done with these people, these colonizers who took advantage of these countries and bled them dry, that kind of thing, then this guy has a wife who's a doctor, who's indigenous, right? So they're going to feel like, oh, this is a man of the people, right? He's not racist, right? He's a good man and he deserves to be king, and he's not crazy like his brother William, who's killing people, right? So this could be Nostradamus's theme of the man who will have no mark of the king, right? A man who will replace who never expected to be king. That would be this guy. This guy would never expect to be king. So anyway, keep going, keep asking questions. I'm asking everyone to make Princess Kate their profile picture on their social media, because I really just want to get the message out that something's really, really wrong. We got to go find her, folks. Until next time, take it easy.